If I've got a few minutes. Yep. Yeah. I'll just touch base, as the Dr. Peter mentioned, especially one of the interesting verses from the Bible, Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 58, which actually where Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. So the Christians generally say, see, here when Jesus said, I am, this is the same I am that God used in book of Exodus in the Old Testament in chapter 3, verse 14, where God said, I am who I am. So this I am is sort of a title for God. So God has used it for himself. Now Jesus, while responding to the Jews who were questioning him, who were challenging him, he said, before Abraham was, I am. Now see, let's think about it. First of all, from the scriptural point of view, first point, from the scriptural perspective, the word God used, I am, in the Old Testament is ho-on, the original. The problem generally what happens is we are all reading the English text, the English translation, which keeps changing from time to time, from Bible to Bible, from version to version. Let's go back to the original. The word I am that God used in the Old Testament is ho-on. If Jesus is going to use the same I am, what should be the word in the New Testament? Ho-on. For your information, the word that Jesus uses in John 8:58 is ego eimi. It is the mistake or willingness or an intentional mistake of the Bible translators who want you to believe that Jesus is God. But in reality, the original text does not have anything that indicates that Jesus is God. Furthermore, interestingly, if somebody wants to call Jesus God, the Bible has many gods. Bible has many people called as God. Jesus calls Jews as gods. When Jews wanted to attack Jesus, they picked up the stones in Gospel of John chapter number 10 verse number 30. They wanted to attack Jesus from 10:23. Jesus asked them, for what good things do you stone me? They said, not for the good things, but for the blasphemy. What is the blasphemy? That you claim to be someone godly. So you know what Jesus says? Is it not written in your law that you all are gods? Jesus is saying to Jews who are picking up stones to kill him for blasphemy, he's saying to them, is it not written in your law that you all are gods? That's the Bible. Gospel of John chapter number 10 verse number 34. Furthermore, book of Exodus, where God says, it is said to Moses, you are a God to Pharaoh. God. What you see entirely in the Bible, the word God does not necessarily mean you are God. It means you are a prophet of God. The word Lord in the Bible does not mean you are Lord. How if you go to the court in Australia, to any of the courts, what do you call the judge? My Lord. Why do you call that? It's a Jewish tradition. The disciples of Jesus are calling Jesus Lord because that's what the tradition that the Jews had. The disciples of Jesus were strong Jewish monotheists. They'd never thought of a God-man. They were calling all the rabbis, the scholars as Lord, so they called Jesus also as Lord. Now what mistake had happened is people started to consider Jesus as now God-man. That is why Jesus is returning to rectify, to correct people that there is no God-man. And that is why God sent Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to clarify this and to bring back to oneness of God the same teachings that the previous prophets brought, including the teaching of Jesus, peace be upon him. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.